Are we ready?
We are recording. Good morning. Welcome to the Board of Water and Power Commissioners meeting. Today is Tuesday, September 22nd. This proceeding is broadcast on Channel 35. The exact broadcast times can be found by contacting Channel 35. General Counsel?
Good morning. In accordance with Governor Newsom's order of March 17th, 2020, this meeting is being conducted in part remotely. Present in the boardroom today are Commission President Cynthia McLean-Hill, Commission Vice President Susanna Reyes, General Manager and Chief Operating and Chief Engineer Marty Adams. I think I'd give him one more title, why not? Along with selected necessary staff. Commissioners Neiman Brady and Berard are appearing remotely. Also consistent with the governor's order, public comment will be taken remotely. Members of the public wishing to call in and offer comment may call area code 213-306-3065. Again, that number is 213-306-3065.
There's that Joe, so we're right here.
Once you call that number, you'll be prompted. At that time, you can enter meeting ID number 146-6006-6455. Again, that number is 146-6006-6455. If you are calling in and listening on a computer, please turn it down so that we don't get feedback. You will have 2 minutes per item, up to a total of 5 minutes. And when asked, please identify the items you are speaking on. At this point, I turn it back to you, Madam Secretary.
Commissioners, please say present for roll call. Commissioner Berard?
Present.
President McLean-Hill?
Present.
Commissioner Neiman Brady?
Present.
And Vice President Reyes?
Present.
4 members present and a quorum. Opening of the board meeting by President McLean-Hill.
I would typically forego opening remarks. However, today I feel that I would be remiss were I not to acknowledge the passing of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. It is particularly significant that on this day, where much of our agenda will be focused on matters of equity and inclusion, that we acknowledge the incredible impact of this, diminutive woman, both as it relates to matters of gender equality, but also as it relates to inclusion, justice, diversity writ large. With respect to the jurisdiction of this body, we should also note that she was a steadfast protector of the environment. It is in a world where we often equate greatness with giants. It's a little ironic that we're talking about such a small person whose intellectual power, her integrity, and her prowess, legal prowess, will undoubtedly stand the test of time and history, and whose legacy is one that that we all celebrate. It's also particularly noteworthy that today I sit on a board constituted by all females and can't imagine such a thing without a Ruth Bader Ginsburg as our predecessor. So with that, I will open the meeting. I would also like to acknowledge the presence of Ackley Padilla, the Chief of Staff to our Board Council President, who has joined us, and appreciate that. In addition, we're joined today by community-based presenters representing Pacoima Beautiful, Lane and Repower LA, and CHPC and NRDC. So I'm pleased to have them joining the meeting as well. I'd like to open, well, we will be opening general public comment. I understand that Mr. Padilla would like to speak to item 7, and given his other duties and responsibilities, we'll also take his comment as part of our opening general public comment. So with that, Board Secretary, if you would go to general public comment, and please begin with Mr. Padilla.
Good morning. As you're unmuted, please state your name. Mr. Ackley Padilla, I'm sorry, you're ready to go on. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you for allowing me to be here with a brief message. First off, and thank you for agendizing this conversation for the board today. It's a critical conversation to have. So I want to acknowledge that I think the incident of late with the experience at the Valley Generating Station certainly not only caught attention, but the fact that you leading the commission is ensuring that we're responding not just to that specific incident, but to the broader conversation about equity and environmental justice and the role and partnership of the department with local communities is critical. My comments are brief, and on behalf of the Council President, it's simply twofold. I think we get caught up as a city in pursuing our ambitious goals and our critical goals for climate change, addressing the realities that are taking place, and a desire to go green and further place Department of Water and Power at the forefront of the cleanest and greenest system and most reliable system anywhere in the world. And we have to continue to do that. In those efforts, our concern continues to be, do we inadvertently forget the very neighborhoods that we're serving in chasing these broader ambitions that are critical to everybody? They're critical to Los Angeles as a whole. They're certainly critical to the broader environment. But it's all for nothing if the local neighborhood in the immediate area of any of our DWP facilities is also not a direct beneficiary, but more importantly, is also not placed in a position to make amends for what I will call the sins of the past, whether they were intentional or otherwise. There's certainly some shortcomings that neighborhoods like Sun Valley, Pacoima experience, and we've got to address that. And the only way to address that is not just making sure that the path forward is one filled with balance and equity, but that we've made amends for the missteps or missed opportunities of the past. On the agenda is discussion of equity metrics, and this DWP Commission has led on incorporating that into the billing review, and I think that was pretty historic and significant. You're going to hear from community groups like Pacoima Beautiful and Lane and other organizations sharing their perspectives on how the utility can better partner with local groups on community-driven and identified initiatives. Nancy Sutley and her team have responded to the council's direction on establishing things like the TCC program at a local level, investing in our neighborhoods. Those are all great, but we're just getting started. And I think what the council president is consistently driven by when we hear conversations about equity moving forward is that equity in and of itself isn't going to balance scales that are already tipped in somebody else's favor. So while it sounds great as we move forward, and it's critical as we move forward, we can't forget about or ignore the fact that the current system creates these undue burdens in certain neighborhoods. And it's these undue burdens that we experience in CD6 in the Sun Valley neighborhoods with the Valley Generating Station. They're burdens that are placed not just for that part of town, but for the reliability of the system overall. And so while it's critical to keep LA running, you know, it's all happening at the backs of Sun Valley. And that's why it's been so critical for us to make sure DWP is looking at its relationship to Sun Valley, looking at its relationship with the local community to make sure we are truly recognizing and respecting the contribution that those residents are playing. In the Energy Committee last week, the council president had mentioned when it comes to water supply and our relationship with Owens Valley, I think we go above and beyond to make sure that that critical water supply for Los Angeles is protected in a fashion that or is protected, and we do so by making sure that we have the strongest relationships possible with the Owens Valley community. That same logic should apply in places like Sun Valley. And we don't always hear that that's actually taking place. And so these conversations that you are allowing for today, hopefully will be the start of that very critical conversation. I think there's been efforts, again, on equity. There's been some good work historically with the department. I don't want to be dismissive of those, but if we ignore the fact that the current situation, that the scales of justice in Sun Valley are already imbalanced, we have to balance that out first before the equity can really kick in and preserve balance moving forward. So that's the reminder that the council president would like to just remind the commission, DWP staff, and our community advocates as well, and our allies. You know, the environmental movement is more than just, you know, a small nonprofit out in the Northeast Valley. It can go regional, it can go statewide, it can go nationally and internationally. But the environmental agenda has to stay focused on the folks immediately next door to any city or publicly owned facility. And for us, that means Valley Generating Station. So we hope you keep that in mind. We look forward to more discussion and actions, in particular from DWP, on different levels, from the environmental front, from billing, from customer service, all of the above. But again, just to reiterate, it's critical that we balance the scales out before we proceed with equity. And that's the key area of focus that we are encouraging the commission and the department to remain focused on as we move forward.
Thank you, Mr. Padilla. We appreciate those comments.
Thanks, and thank you for the time.
Good morning, callers. As I unmute you, please state your full name. You will have 2 minutes for comment. Beginning with caller number 1, Michael. Please state your full name.
This is Michael Gagan with Kendall Gagan, representing Metabolic Studio. I want to commend for your consideration the approval of item 20, which relates to an agreement between Metabolic Studio, the department, and the LA Bureau of Sanitation for the operation and maintenance of the Bending the River Back into the City project, or the Water Wheel project. I want to commend Rafael Villegas and Melanie Torrey for their assistance in putting the agreement together, and respectfully urge your approval. Thank you.
Thank you.
And also, Susie, I just want to note that general public comment is for comments and items that are not on the agenda. So to the extent that people want to speak to specific agenda items, they'll need to do that before, when we get to that item. Thank you.
Correct. Caller number 2, Cameron. Please state your full name.
Hello, my name is Cameron Hurt, and my comment is about item number 7, as I stated earlier.
So he'll make his comment when we get to item 7.
Okay, sir. Please wait for item number 7 when it becomes on the agenda, when we discuss. Caller with the prefix of 323-807. Please state your name and what item.
Hi, this is Jasmine Vargas. I'm speaking on item number 7, please.
Okay, please hold and we'll get right back to you. Caller with the prefix 323-412. What item are you speaking on?
Hi, I'm speaking on item number 7.
Okay, please hold.
My name is Jocelyn.
Please hold. Caller with the prefix of 323-974. What item are you speaking on? Caller with the area code 323, prefix 974. What item are you speaking on? Next caller. Caller with the prefix area code 562, prefix 215. What item are you speaking on? Caller with the area code 213-367. Are you speaking on an item? All items will be on number
All speakers
7.
are on 7?
Mhm.
Okay, great, thank you.
So general public comment is closed.
Thank you. Mr. Adams.
Thank you very much, and good morning. I'll try to keep my report brief, but make sure the board is aware of a few particular items. First of all, I'm not sure if everyone's aware, but this is Latino History Month. Actually, it's from September 15th to October 14th, and there is a presentation coming up from the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers, so we'll hear more about that shortly. Also in September, it's National Emergency Preparedness Month, and so I'm reminded that the little earthquake we had over the weekend brings to our attention that besides dealing with the COVID and the pandemic, there are the normal emergencies and disasters that we need to be prepared for in California. And so this is the time that we try to remind not only our customers, but also our employees to be prepared because we are a critical workforce. We want to make sure that folks are both ready at work with an emergency kit as well as prepared at home and also prepared to be able to respond to the job and have their family taken care of. So it's one of the things we emphasize every year with our employees to make sure that you're able to report to work and know that you can leave your family in a good spot at home, because in the event of a real disaster, a real earthquake, we will be calling on most all of our employees to do it and support the city in recovery efforts. We held our first virtual job fair a week ago Thursday, featured particular jobs in the Owens Valley. We've talked about recruiting in different areas, and that's one of the places that we're looking to recruit local hires in the Owens Valley for folks who've been grown up there and raised there and would like to find a job with the department in that location. And so we did have Marty Bradley and Jim Ellis from our Northern District talked about construction opportunities and what it was like to work up there. So we're hoping to create more interest and to be able to do that. It was a good effort between Human Resources and our communications and public affairs groups teaming together in this first effort of its kind. So I think we'll see more of that, especially because it's hard to go out and reach out to people who would want to work here with the current environment. So that's a good step forward. Corporate safety office has been very busy. They're continuing to monitor air quality as it relates to the wildfires and employee protection. We have a lot of folks that are working out in the field, some in very smoky areas. In the Owens Valley, again, air quality is particularly poor because of all the fires in the Sierras. And so they actually have, we have industrial hygienists up there this week that are monitoring air quality and doing what they need to help with respiratory protection and other things for our crews. Speaking of corporate safety and their other efforts, last board meeting reported about the methane leak at our Valley Generating Station. We have continued to work on that leak, and we'll make permanent repairs. Again, we've cut down 95% or more of what was leaking and have shut off compressors when they're not in use. Our permanent repairs are still scheduled for November, which should resolve the problem entirely. We actually have the same kind of units at our Harbor Generating Station, and so we made a policy that when those units are not in use as a protective measure, we will go ahead and leave those shut. Since then, we have been doing continual monitoring at the Valley Generating Station, and also our industrial hygienists have been accompanying AQMD compliance officers who are doing their own independent monitoring for air quality. And one of the reasons we're making sure that we're hand in hand with them so that we're doing things consistently with the air quality regulators, and that we are so we're getting the same kind of measurements, same kind of results, and we're looking at the same numbers. And then what we're doing now is working on an environmental monitoring system for the perimeter for the fence line around Valley Generating Station. We're actually consulting with AQMD on the kind of system that would be best installed. We're looking at something along the lines of an infrared system that'll do fence line monitoring, and then also working with AQMD for establishing action levels if there's anything different, because there are certain environmental standards or environmental background levels, and so looking at what kind of levels and alerts that would be generated from that system. So we're very happy to be working closely with the regulator, and not only on the actual leak issue itself, but also on protecting public health and monitoring that site, and then working on how we'll make that information available constantly to the public surrounding the area so they can see exactly for themselves what the monitoring results are.
Question,
Yes.
just so I don't forget. One of the things that President Nuri Martinez asked was for the community-based organization to monitor the air together, to take a tour with
Yes.
the AQMD as the air is being monitored, so they are aware of what the air monitoring process looks like. Has that happened?
I don't know if that has happened yet. We are setting up a meeting with the community. I recommended that we also do a site tour with the community,
Okay.
and so they can see exactly what we're talking about, see the equipment, see the monitoring and things firsthand, so they can understand exactly what we're doing. If that particular piece is not in there, we'll make sure it's included. But we want to make sure that we are as open and transparent as we can be, that people can see exactly what we're dealing with, exactly what we're working on, and exactly what monitoring protocols there are. And there is a community meeting being set up. I don't have the date for that yet, though.
Thank you.
And that, unless there's any questions, that concludes my report.
Okay, thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions on the general manager's report? Then we'll move forward. Comments from ratepayer advocate.
I will have comments on item 24, if it's called forward, or I can make them now.
If you would make them now, it's not currently scheduled to be called.
We support the Red Cloud project, although we do recommend a future review of the process for especially considering purchase options for projects and the negotiation of purchase options in new PPAs.
Thank you. Any comments, Commissioner Newman Brady?
Yes, I would like to have a presentation on 24, and then perhaps, Fred, we can elaborate on your comments in that time.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you for that. Anything else with respect to the ratepayer advocate?
We may have comments as questions arise, but no further comments on the other items on the agenda today.
Thank you, sir. Discussion with neighborhood council.
No community impact statements or formal positions were filed by any neighborhood councils on the items on today's agenda.
All right. Well, we will at this time consider our consent calendar. We have items 11, items 11, items 24, and items 25 will be pulled from the consent calendar. Items 23 will be deferred. So we'll have a presentation on item 11, a presentation on item 24, and a presentation on item 25. Item 23 will be deferred.
Commissioner, do we need to vote on the deferred item?
I don't.
No?
No,
Okay.
we
Thank
don't.
you.
Thank you for that. Then with that, if the board is prepared to vote on items 9, which are the minutes, items 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 22. May I have a motion, please?
I move to approve.
Is there-
President Hill, this is Jill Barad. I would like to ask a question regarding item 18, please.
Then we will take that off the consent calendar and take that up when we
Thank
take
you.
up regular items. Terrific. So with the exception of item 18, 23, 24, 25, and 2011, is that motion to approve still good?
Yes.
Is there a second?
Second?
Thank you. Would you take the roll?
Commissioner Berard,
Aye.
President McLean Hill,
Aye.
Commissioner Neiman Brady,
Aye.
VP Reyes.
Aye.
4 ayes.
Terrific, thank you. We will now move to item 7, and we'll start with public comment.
Caller with the prefix area code 323-807. Please state your name. Caller with the area code 323 and the prefix 807, please state your name. Moving to the next caller. Caller Cameron, please state your name, your full name.
Cameron Hurt.
Yes, please go ahead. Speak on item 7.
Okay. Yes, I'm a resident of Los Angeles, and I'm calling to support Repower LA and their push for these demands, including the full erasure of utility debt for low-income ratepayers. I just think it's a very comprehensive plan that could be created if you work with Repower LA. I completely support the fact that they're fighting for a robust jobs program and also for racial justice through lowering bills, good jobs, sustainable energy sources. And, you know, these kinds of things are very important, especially in the current political and social and climate crisis that we're in. It's absolutely necessary that we make bold action now, especially because LADWP is the largest public utility in the country. None of y'all have to be told that. That's definitely something we all know. But we have to especially think about during this time of a wave of fires, this economic crisis. LA ratepayers really need relief very seriously. And I believe the strongest way to do that is to work alongside City Council President Miri Martinez, work alongside the Repower LA Coalition, who's going to have, from what I know, a very great presentation. And, you know, the council is fully on board with this move. Now, it's important that the Board of Commissioners joins us and we stand on the same side. Since COVID-19 is far from over, we need that action now. So I implore all of you to work together with Repower LA and really make this happen.
Thank you. Caller with the area code 323-412.
Hi, good morning. My name is Jocelyn Navarral, and I am with East Coast Communities for Environmental Justice. We work with community members within your area service, specifically on the east side of Los Angeles. And I'm calling to support the Repower LA plan, which definitely emphasizes erasing utility debt for low-income ratepayers. And the reason I support this plan is because it makes the effort to eliminate this utility burden, which already weighs heavily on our communities, but is also looking forward at creating more clean energy opportunities and a robust jobs program to support it. This is a big change that low-income communities that are also impacted by the fossil fuel industry and industrial pollution in Los Angeles that they need now. And I want to stress that, you know, we rely on utilities to survive this pandemic, and families are relying on utilities to survive this pandemic. Families are hurting right now, and you have the power and ability to alleviate this. We reached a point where we know and we are seeing the economic impact of COVID that worsen each month, and it is clear that we need solutions, but not just any solution, which is why if you adopt and instruct staff to work with Repower LA, you are prioritizing the needs of the communities that you serve, and you would be showing us that you see us. Board of Commissioners, as the largest public utility in the country, do right by your customers, by your ratepayers, by members of the community, and support the Repower LA plan. This is very important, and I urge you to get on board with this plan because we definitely need action. Thank you.
Thank you. Caller with the area code 562-215. Caller, yes, please state your full name.
Hi, my name is Francis Yang. I'm an organizer with the My Generation Campaign and Sierra Club. I'm also just calling in support of the Repower LA utility forgiveness plan. Again, like I think both speakers have already said, like we are in such a precarious time and people are already suffering. This is kind of one of the big things that I think LADWP needs to prioritize now. The California Public Utilities Commission has already authorized a larger plan at a statewide level, yet LADWP has done nothing to actually show the ratepayers that they care. As the largest public utility in the country, this means that we need to really prioritize the people during a public health crisis. We have the resources to really work out economic resilience for all of our families and our friends, and yet we feel that LADWP is not taking this thing seriously, considering that we're so far into a pandemic, and yet we have no actual economic resilience for the lowest income ratepayers. So please work with Repower LA. That means that LADWP is actually taking steps forward to prioritize the people over profit. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Caller with the area code 818 and the prefix 932, please state your full name. Caller with the area code 818, prefix 932, please state your name. Moving to the next caller. Caller with the area code 323, prefix 316, please state your name. Caller.
Hello, Siboney Arias.
Yes, I'm sorry. Can you please repeat your name?
Siboney Arias.
Thank you. Please go ahead.
Hello, my name is Siboney, and I work with Scope as Communications Associate. I'm calling to support the Repower LA demand, to support Repower LA in their push for their demands, including the raise of utility debt for low-income ratepayers, and to specifically share a community member's story, Sirena Perez, who was unable to join due to inaccessible and confusing interpretation options. I would hope that these options would become more accessible and less confusing for Spanish-speaking communities. But just to share Sirena's story, Sirena is enrolled in the payment plan program, and she only learned about this program 2 years ago when she joined the SCOPE meeting. Previously, she didn't know this existed, and she has been in utility debt for several years. She's currently trying to apply for the low-income discount program plan, but has not gotten a response, and it's just inaccessible to her as well. She and her family have been unemployed during the pandemic, and her family's funds are low. She has to prioritize between rent, food, and utilities. She's worried of a cutoff on her electricity and on other utilities. And there's several people like Sirenia in LA who need a solution now and who need to be helped now. And so I would urge for a move to work with Repower LA to push for these demands and find a solution as quickly as possible to alleviate the burden of debt for Angelinos. Thank you.
Thank you. Caller with the area code 818, prefix 932, please state your name. Caller with the area code 818, prefix 932, please state your name.
Hi, this is Michael Benjamin. I'm reporting a down power line in my neighborhood, and the reason I'm calling the board is because it's been 2 months, and I call customer service, and got them to respond and write a ticket for it. But how does a power line get
Mr.
in the
Benjamin?
street on a high voltage line, and there's barricades around it for 2 months? How does that happen?
Mr.
That just
Benjamin,
doesn't seem safe.
we can get someone on the line to be able to help you. Please hold.
Okay.
Thank you. Moving to the next caller. Caller with the area code 917, prefix 470, please state your name.
Yes, hi, good morning. This is former Commissioner Aura Vasquez. Hello, everyone. I am calling regarding the lane and the Repower LA Coalition and the campaign for a customer-focused program that can help Angelinos in need today that have debt with DWP. Is this the appropriate channel to speak about this?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So I just wanted to say that this year, as facing COVID-19 and of course the pandemic, I founded a mutual aid organization with a bunch of my neighbors and other folks, and we have seen a tremendous burden and Angelinos of all sorts. We see people with food diversity. We see students at Starbucks Coffee getting Wi-Fi because they don't have it. We see Angelinos calling us because our homeless community are much stressed right now living in the streets. And what we need is for LADWP to really support Angelinos right now in canceling the debt, or as Repower LA like to call it, erasing the debt from them. I personally have been greatly affected by COVID-19, so I can only imagine other people that don't have the access or don't have the opportunity to come to this meeting to get their voice heard. How incredibly positive would this be for customers and for ratepayers in Los Angeles? I urge the board president, to please look on our budget and to find the required funding for us to make sure that every Angelino has the opportunity to have water and power. You guys have done a tremendous job supporting in these times and not cutting anybody's utilities, and that's very, very important. And I hope that you can also support the Lane and the Repower LA Coalition, and of course, Councilwoman Nori Martinez resolution to figure out a way to support Angelinos that are in much need right now. Thank you so much for all the work that you do, and I appreciate all the support that you can give to this campaign. Thank you.
Thank you. Caller with the area code 908, prefix 591, please state your name. Caller with the area code 908 and the prefix 951, please state your name. Moving to the next caller, we have a prefix 213367. Do you have public comment? Thank you. Moving to the next caller, 213367. Do you have public comment? Hello? Please state your name if you have public comment. That will end all of our public comment is now closed.
Thank you. We'll now move to the staff report on item 7. Mr. Adams, did you have any preface to this presentation?
Just to let you know, this is, we have presentations coming from several community groups, as you mentioned earlier. This is the beginning of what you'll hear from the department on this. We have some status of where we are now and updates, but as I know you're aware, we are working on Council President Nuri Martinez's motion in terms of what we can do for assistance for ratepayers. We are working very actively on a number of plans and ideas, and so while those are still being developed, what you'll hear today is kind of where we are right now. Things have been put in place already, as well as status on our equity metrics data initiative, and some of our rebates and other programs, including the low-income program. So, what's in place and what's being done to date. But what you'll hear today is not the sum total of what we plan to bring to you in the future.
I didn't expect that it would be, and we may actually have some feedback and input on not only where we go, but how quickly we get there. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Board, and thank you for your opening remarks, Marty. My name is Sharon Grove. I'm the Assistant General Manager of Customer Service here at the department, and I'd like to give you a little bit of an overview of what we're working on for our low-income assistance. Next slide. Our bill assistance programs have a variety. Our discount programs come in different combinations, and this just gives you an overview of the amounts of the discount on every bi-monthly bill. So every 60 days, this would be the discount level. Next slide. This is a brief chart on who can apply and how they apply. We have a variety of ways that customers can sign up for these discount programs. Specifically for the low-income discount, they can go online, they can come in person. Since right now our customer service centers are closed, they can put it in the drop box, and we get these applications processed in a matter of days. In addition, the Office of Finance processes the Lifeline discounts, and they send them over to us, and once we get sent the approved discounts, we apply them in a matter of days. And they show up on the following bill. So this is, they can also fax it, they can email us, and any way they can get to us, we can accept an application. Okay, next slide, please. The participation levels of our low-income program have slowly declined over the past few years. The Lifeline program participation stays relatively stable because of the nature of the qualification to get into that program. The low-income participation, they do have to recertify every 3 years, and so this just exhibits, you know, some of what we're looking at right now. Next slide, please. We do maps to be able to, so the map, the green blue map on the left is the map of all of our low-income Lifeline discount customers by zip code across our service territory. And this shows the darker the red or the orange or the yellow, that's where we have more participation in our service territory, and the greener we have less participation. And then the map on the right is census data that shows the different poverty areas in our service territory. So when we look at this, we're able to determine where we have to increase and do more outreach to these communities to make sure that we increase the enrollment in these discount programs. Next slide, please. We do survey customers really quite frequently. This, in lieu of just showing you a lot of different findings, we wanted to talk a little bit about program awareness. I did notice one of the public comments was about lack of awareness. We're always working on making sure customers are aware, and this validates that we do a pretty good job that customers are aware of our discount programs. The other ways that, every time a customer calls to start service with us, every single customer service rep talks about the discount programs. It's on our website. We put them in our bill mailers with bill messages. We do campaigns, marketing campaigns, and we also do direct mail. And so we do try to promote participation. Next slide, please. We administer 14 different energy and conservation programs in customer service, 5 of which are strongly focused on our low-income customers. That's the refrigerator exchange, window air conditioning, HYPE, attic insulation, and used EV rebate. And David Jaco, my colleague, will come up after me and talk specifically about those programs and the statistics. Next slide, please. We have done a lot of things this year in light of COVID and the absolute difficulty that our customers are having keeping up with their energy payments. We took our payment plans and we modified them so that it's lower initial down payments and a longer payback period. We were able to actually program this also on our website, so customers, while they can reach us very quickly now, as our wait times have now come back to very, very quick turnarounds, but they can also go online and automatically sign up for these payment plans. This is just a chart just to show some of the detail around these payment options. We don't charge late fees. We're not disconnecting for down payment at least till December 31st of this year, and there is no credit reporting. In addition, we have our customer service reps. We instructed them to spend as much time as possible to discuss options with customers so that they don't feel rushed and they feel that they have all the information they need to pay their utilities. Next slide, please. These next 3 slides I'm going to go through quickly, but they just show efforts that we're making, ongoing efforts that we're making regarding our low-income customers. The first describes the various programs that we're working on, bill assistance program, LIHEAP funds from the state, really trying to establish a level pay for customers, and again, try to figure out a way to automatically have other customers provide assistance and funding to our utility bill assistance fund so that we can also help customers. The next slide highlights some of the analytics that we keep looking at, the metrics. As you see, I had a dotted line on the one slide. We're really, and John Chen, my colleague, will come up and talk about some of the goals we're setting to try to really improve participation in these programs. And we're holding a variety of workshops with stakeholders to, again, get the right input we need to proceed. Next slide, please. And to finish up on these activities, we have, we're developing a new customer service representative training to provide even more support when our customers call. We know that 2021 is going to be a very difficult year as well, and we're developing an entire new training curriculum, and we're going to have every customer service rep trained in this new curriculum by March of next year. In addition, we're setting up a consultation service program for our customers to do remotely, and we hope to launch that in January of 2021. And then next slide. And finally, I want to talk about really our thought process of setting up these new programs. We know that there are a lot of customers that have never experienced this before. This is a new normal. We've got customers that not only are currently on our low income and lifeline discounts, we've got a whole new group of customers that still need our help. And so we're again understanding that we've got to be able to identify those customers and figure out how to support them. This is a new normal for us, and we're willing to listen. Thank you. Next slide. Questions?
We'll hold questions until all of the presentations have been made, so thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to introduce my colleague, David Jaco, to come up and talk about programs.
Good morning. Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
Thank you, Sharon, for the introduction. I'll be speaking about our primary low-income serving EE programs, as well as our extensive and long-running community partnership grants program. I'll give you a high-level overview on energy efficiency first. Next slide, please. So the term low-income serving energy efficiency programs means this is a collection of programs that are either income qualified altogether, or because of the breadth of the city they touch, serve a significant, sizable chunk of low-income customers. And we're very happy to be able to offer those mass market type programs. The low-income refrigerator program, let me orient you to how this list is laid out. We've got programs, that program started in 2007. We've had a couple programs in 2012, one in 2015, and two more in 2016. These are all ongoing programs. None of these have sunsetted. They're all ongoing. And then looking at the number of customers served by each program over that time frame, and the average bill savings resulting for the customers per year from their participation in these various programs. The low-income refrigerator program is an income qualified program, and it offers qualified customers refrigerator replacement, a high efficiency replacement for an existing working refrigerator. That's served over 134,000 customers since inception in 2007. The Home Energy Improvement Program is our internally resourced comprehensive home retrofit program. It is not technically income qualified, but we target it from a marketing standpoint to the disadvantaged communities. Anybody can participate in it, but because it has certain throughput capacity limitations, we're careful to only target it to the disadvantaged communities. We've served about 16,000 homes through that, and we see customers on the order of $300, $330 a year annual savings. The commercial direct install program doesn't sound like it's low income, but it basically is. It's low income for mom and pop type companies, small businesses primarily. And so those are the folks that don't necessarily have the wherewithal to initiate energy efficiency projects, and so we come in and do it for free, from the assessments to the procurement of the materials to the installation to the testing. And it's all free to the customers. So not technically a residential low income program, but it's certainly helping our small businesses, which right now is more important than ever. The Energy Savings Assistance Program, that is income qualified. It's offered in partnership with SoCal Gas, and we worked through that to serve 25,000 individual units, all multifamily, of which over 4,000 are HACLA units, Housing Authority of the City of Los Angeles. So we partnered with them to finish off upgrading HACLA's inventory. AC optimization, that program is also not specifically low income, but it serves a lot of fixed income folks in the valley. Its primary focus, because of the needs of the building stock, the high heat in the valley, especially the West Valley, the age of the building stock, and a lot of those folks are retirees on fixed incomes. So that program has been very well received in CD3, CD5, CD4, the CD4 portion that's in the valley, and others. And we've served quite a bit, 64,000 homes with that program since inception in 2016. And then finally, residential LEDs. This one, again, it's not limited to low income, but we figure about a third of the city is low income. And this program hits everybody. It hits all households in the city with 2 LED bulbs. We've done it 3 times, so that's actually 6 LED bulbs. And that's helping, just from the LEDs, it's helping customers save $15 a year. I want to put in a plug for a Coming Soon program. As I mentioned, all these are existing, going back to 2007 is the oldest one. But we're working diligently to bring the low-income weatherization program, which is run by the state, into Los Angeles. And that will be a comprehensive retrofit program similar to HYPE, to Home Energy Improvement Program, but done with external forces, and as such, a bit more scalable than what we've been able to do internally. And we're exploring some options about how those 2 programs will work together complementarily to each other. But that's deep in the planning process, and we hope to be bringing that to this board later this year for approval. Next slide. Okay, so to shift gears a little bit, I wanted to talk about our community partnerships grants. This goes back to 2010. This was launched under the ERA funding. We had ERA stimulus funding for a number of programs, this being one of them. And we use it to award local nonprofit organizations these grants to do outreach education for energy efficiency, water conservation, and other sustainable practices in LA, particularly in underserved populations. And I'll talk a little bit more about that when I get to the latest round of grantees. They're evaluated on a number of criteria through a fairly rigorous RFI type process that incorporates input from city council offices and the mayor's office, but leaves the ultimate decision-making authority with the department. A couple reasons that keeps any potential lobbying down at City Hall from overwhelming their staffs. And finally, these projects implement community-appropriate engagement strategies, including in-person, in-language, web-based social media messaging, and other door-knocking, other ways to get the word out. Next slide, please. So we've done 10 rounds, 7 major rounds and 3 sub-rounds. The sub-rounds were special areas of need that we identified. Over the course of the entire 10 rounds, we've awarded 186 grants, over 10 million in grants. Those have directly touched over 2 million Angelenos, that's half the city, and had a deeper engagement with nearly 200,000 Angelenos. Next slide. So this is an example. The current round 7, we've got 32 grantees. We have a grantee per council district. We have a number of grantees that work citywide. We have an Owens Valley grantee. We added that in, I believe, in round 6. We do have service territory up there. We have customers up there. We should have a community-based organization we support up there, and we do. This is one example. A lot of folks have probably heard of this organization, Strategic Actions for a Just Economy, or SAGE. It's based in South LA. They were their sixth round grant participant for CD2 and 10. They are a 7th round, the current round, recipient for CD2. And just to give you a sense of what they do, they run community workshops, 55 of those presentations, door-to-door canvassing over 6,000 residences, and that included distribution of low-income program information, not just energy efficiency, but Lifeline and the other discount plans that are offered to qualified customers, and reached over almost 8,000 community residents via the social media campaign. That's just one example. Like I said, we've got 32 in the current round. We also do a number of school-based grants, although we've rolled those into other mechanisms now. They used to be part of this, but we're continuing those. We do that directly with LAUSD. We've got about 4 or 5 grants there, and then water system has a few as well. So we actually have a lot of activity in this space. It was wildly successful when it was funded by ERA, and so we had a strong desire when the ERA money ran out to insource it, and it's been running basically 10 years now and always getting better and better. Next slide. And I think I heard we're going to hold questions, so I will then introduce my colleague, John Chen.
Thank you.
Commissioners.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the Board of Commissioners. Thank you very much for the opportunity to come here to provide you an update on the Equity Metrics Data Initiative at Department of Water and Power. The Equity and the Rates Metrics was established by the LADWP Board of Commissioners to improve transparency, accountability, and equity for all of its programs and services provided to the customers. And the board has established 15 metrics in the past with 4 different categories. The water and power infrastructure investment category, customer service incentive program and services, which you have already heard Sharon and David provide some insights to the program and the achievements. We also monitor the procurement and the employment categories in the Department of Water and Power for equity. We took the direction from the board since the last time we were here. Very happy to report back to you that we have established specific goals for most of the equity metrics, and we'll be monitoring the performance of the programs against those goals for the fiscal year 2020 to 2021. In addition, on the dashboard, in addition to the categories of background purpose, achievements, issues, recommendation, management, we will also grade each of those metrics' performance with 4 different colors. One is for within acceptable variance, then outside of the acceptable variance. If the metrics exceed a target, we'll assign a different color to it, and the programs that needs attention, and we'll follow rigorously with the program managers on that. So in addition to the metrics we have, we plan to add 3 more programs to monitor those progresses. One is called the LA Utility Bill Assistance Fund. It is a one-time tax-deductible donation from customers and employees used to help offset qualified customers' utility bills with a one-time bill credit. There are 2 other programs that mostly target multi-family customers in the low-income category. Is the low-income weatherization program and the virtual net energy metering pilot program to expand our solar programs. So I'd like to take a few minutes to talk about some of the highlights of our program since the inception. A couple years ago, we started monitoring the electric vehicle charging program and also the solar installation. Department of Water and Power has provided a lot of incentives over the years for those programs. But we were able to graph the recipients of those rebates into different geographic areas. What we discovered at that time that there were gaps, huge gaps, where customers were not receiving in those areas the incentives. So ever since we were able to identify those issues for the electric vehicle charging program and the solar installation program, Department of Water and Power has adjusted its program criteria that included equity component to the evaluation for issuing the rebates. And we have also set up very high goals for those programs. For example, 10,000 chargers by 2022. I believe we have already installed over 4,000 this year. And we have additional goals for the shear solar program and the solar roof programs. So David has already touched earlier about its consumer rebate program. We provide, Department of Water and Power has provided over 10,000 rebates between November 2019 to April 2020 to our customers. But now, overall, the program, we believe, had provided approximately 12 to 14% income qualified participants. So coming this year, their goal to reach 16%. So there's a very specific goal they have established for this program. Same thing for the refrigerator exchange program. It was mentioned earlier, 134,000 refrigerators has been given out since year 2007. We believe the overall population of customers that qualify for this program is close to 200,000. So there's also still a gap of 70,000 that we will have a program trying to market to those customers. Very happy to say that 95% of all water quality complaints are handled by the end of next business day. That's a huge achievement. It's very important that we provide quality water services to our customer. For the power reliability side of it, Department of Water and Power has been ranked in the first quartile from 2014 to 2019 compared to against the other IOUs. We'll continue to have them stay at this service level for customers. Low income, Sharon had given insights on what she's doing on the various activities. We established a 10% increase goal for the program. So I'll be working very closely with Sharon and her staff to make sure that they meet that goal for this coming year. Department of Water and Power also has goals, specific goals for the small business and also disabled veterans business enterprise. We're working with purchasing to continuously monitoring the achievement of the actual contracts toward those goals. We provide data on a monthly basis to the mayor's open data portal, and many of those data were being used by the mayor's office to show graph and charts on their website. And very happy to say that customer service will be holding additional outreach stakeholder meetings in early October. This is a list of the organization we have been reaching out in the past through our meetings with those stakeholder groups. So look forward to continue to work with them and also hear them later on today to understand how to improve our programs and get their feedbacks. Any questions?
Quite a few, but I will hold.
Okay.
Thank you for that. And if you will all just remain available for questions. If we could now hear presentations from Pacoima Beautiful, I think is up first. And is Veronica making that presentation?
Thank you, Cynthia. It's actually Andres.
Okay.
The two of us representing myself, Pacoima Beautiful, and also my colleague Alex Ortega, who will introduce himself right now in a little bit. So we want to thank you definitely for the opportunity to really share a little bit about our experience and working with LADWP and getting low-income ratepayers access to much-needed programs. And definitely some thoughts we have on how to improve the collaboration. So I'll pass it on to Alex. Next slide, please.
Beautiful.
You're on mute.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can, yes.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Alex Ortega with Home Beautiful. I am a community organizer working out of the Northeast San Fernando Valley. I am one of the community organizers leading the Empower movement for our organization. So I deal with a lot of on-the-ground people in our community who are a lot of your customers. So we have had a successful partnership for community engagement. We've signed up hundreds of ratepayers to LAWP energy efficient programs in the Northeast San Fernando Valley through the Empower program. So we've had quite a bit of success with folks. We've seen that there's a lot of need for utility assistance in the Northeast San Fernando Valley in our communities. And luckily, through the Empower program, we've been able to help some folks out with their energy bills. So some challenges that we've seen in regards to connecting folks to utility assistance is we're finding that ratepayers who have qualified and signed up for the energy efficient programs are not actually receiving equipment or savings that they signed up for. Most recently, we've gone back through our records and contacted the folks to see if they've received the assistance they signed up for, and we've noticed that a lot of these folks have not. So that's one of the things that we're continuously hearing from our folks, that we sign up for them and they hear nothing back from LAWP. And there's other challenges too, that some of our folks here in our communities don't really have access to computers or fax machines, so they find it really difficult to apply, and amongst other barriers. And that not only impacts LAWP, but our organization's reputation with the community. Our community really looks up to us and trusts us when we're promoting a program and we're helping them sign up for something. So when they find out, or when we hear that they're not receiving the discounts they applied for, it really does affect our reputation as well as LAWP.
And one thing I would add, we forgot to mention on the previous slide, right? There has been really good interaction in terms of accessibility with DWP staff when helping to develop some ideas for policy and programs that can benefit low-income ratepayers. But a challenge has also been a lack of space to actually assess and see for improvement. And I think that's going to be one of our recommendations, of creating spaces to really assess when we create pilots. What are lessons learned? How can we improve? And how do we put up the scale? Next slide, please. It's definitely it's something that we feel is important. Because we do find bumps in the road as we go in. That's been one of our experiences. But being able to learn and really give those recommendations and feedback to be integrated, so the same mistakes don't happen in other areas, would be fantastic. We also feel there's not enough capacity or resource for the need in the community, right? The need is continues to be big, and especially with the current climate, right? In terms of COVID, the economic impact of COVID, there's even much higher needs that didn't exist before. Another piece also is being able to engage the hard-to-reach communities, so-called hard-to-reach communities, right? That's something that has been very important, right? It's complicated it's really complicated how community members in our communities are adjusting to the high price of housing, the high price, not having sustainable work, and being able to reach them, engage them, ensuring that they have access to the basic necessities is very, very important. And we have to be creative and innovative on how we do that. Next slide, please. So in terms of our recommendations, we definitely feel resources should be dedicated to some sort of case management for these programs to ensure that folks are actually accessing, at the end of the day, the programs that they're signing up for. We're definitely seeing a lot of folks that are qualified, but being really able to assess how many of those folks are actually are receiving the services that have been promised to them, and making sure that there's no disconnection there. And whether that means resourcing on DWP side or on the resourcing with the community-based organizations. The capacity is there, I believe, for CBO to do some of this work, but it needs to be resourced. Like I mentioned before, providing two spaces to assess programs does help improve. Also, one recommendation that we feel is important is user-friendliness to accessing these programs, right? Using access, understanding the digital divide that exists, making sure that you're thinking of every avenue to have people access the programs that we're making, and not just being one size fits all type of solution, but also being conscious of language being used, making sure the language is accessible, right? A lot of times the language in these programs can be very technical and very difficult for folks to just, be able to understand what it means and how that applies to them. So just being more conscious of that, I think, will be very helpful. And I think just all the time, one thing that we believe is community engagement must be valued as key to the success of any program or policy implementation. And I think that's a very important priority that LADWP has taken steps, and all we're saying is continue taking those steps, right? It has to be viewed as key, just as much as the design, just as much as the implementation plan, right? But it's really how is the local community, how are local communities being engaged? And also understanding the uniqueness of every sector of the territory, right? Not every community is the same. And just being able to pivot your methods of outreach. And then lastly, we definitely feel it's important to support low-income ratepayers as we recover from COVID. We don't want folks to be lost in the shuffle, right? As we go back into some sort of normalcy, we got to understand that there's long-lasting impact from COVID that's not just health-related, right? But specifically economically. Our colleagues will be speaking further on utility forgiveness, but policy like those are going to be very key. And also, as we look into invest, is prioritizing the communities that have had the highest impact of climate change. It's going to be very important. We thank you so much for your time, and we welcome any questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate that. We'll move to the presentation by Lane and Repower LA Coalition.
Great. Thank you so much. Good morning, commissioners, DWP staff, and our colleagues listening. I just want to start off by thanking our colleagues at Pacoima Beautiful for doing a great job of presenting of the needs of sort of people on the ground who need these services. So we're going to be focusing on, our presentation is going to be focusing on how can the department really invest in low-income communities of color to make sure that we recover from this pandemic and from the climate crisis. Next slide. So just a little bit about who we are for folks who don't know. Repower LA is a coalition of over 30 community organizations, leaders, and environmentalists, including IBW Local 18. We're a community-driven coalition that has been advocating for equity, good jobs, low-income programs at DWP for the last 10 years. And so we focus our advocacy at DWP because it's the largest public-owned utility, and so we have great potential in transforming the energy industry to create public investments like good jobs and addressing racial inequities. As a brief context, in the last 10 years, we have advocated for the Utility Crew Craft Trainee Program to break down barriers to good employment, which currently UPCTs represent about 2/3 people of color and have created good pathways into the department. We've also helped create transparency in the utility through the Equity Metrics Data Initiative, which you heard a little bit about earlier. And we have bought and helped expand the Home Energy Improvement Program and Shared Solar to make sure energy efficiency and clean energy programs are accessible to people who have been historically locked out, like renters and communities of color. So moving forward, our Repower LA works to move the city of LA away from the extractive economy and more towards a regenerative one by centering the people most impacted, which are workers, renters, and ratepayers. Next slide. And the reason, one of the ways that we want to do that, and our vision behind that, is really making sure that we work alongside you all, as we've done in the last 10 years, to help transform the business models to be more environmentally and economically sustainable while protecting good jobs. We want to prioritize DWP's investment in sustainability towards low-income communities of color through policies and programs that help them save on their bills. We want to support a reliable integrated power grid that provides clean energy at affordable rates. And we want to increase good job pipelines and opportunities for people of color, formerly incarcerated folks, LGBTQ community, and women at LADWP. And lastly, we really want to make sure that we increase transparency and partnership with community stakeholders in LADWP planning, operations, maintenance, and budgeting. And I may have skipped over who I am. I got so excited to present to you all, but again, my name is Agustin Cabrera. I'm the Repower LA Director with the LA Alliance for a New Economy, and I'm co-presenting with my colleague Laura Murada from Scope, who will introduce herself right now.
Thank you, Agustin. My name is Laura Murada, and I'm the Research and Communications Director with Scope. And we can go to the next slide, please. So as we have heard many times today, and as we all know, we've collectively faced unprecedented challenges this year. And each of these challenges has demonstrated that it's not a single crisis that we're facing, but a crisis across multiple intersecting systems that harm Black, Indigenous, Latinx, and other low-income communities of color first and worst. These three maps that we highlighted here are South Los Angeles, and we felt like this was a good illustration of how we're facing multiple layered crises, if you will. On the left is a redlining map from the late 1930s. In the middle, you'll see a CalEnviro screen map from 2018 that highlights in red areas of the city that have the highest combined pollution and poverty burden. And on the right, you'll see a map of COVID-19 cases. And these maps also demonstrate a similar pattern to other maps that LADWP staff showed in terms of those that are facing either payment plans, low-income program enrollment, having to use those types of resources, or are just under-enrolled in some of the resources and programs that LADWP provides in terms of clean energy and energy efficiency. So we see a lot of these same patterns in that, much like South LA, we see communities in the Northeast Valley and Wilmington and other low-income communities of color facing these combined barriers and burdens. And these are a result of structural inequities. Next slide, please. So given this context, which is clearly longstanding and prior to the COVID-19 pandemic and economic impacts this year, but we did want to survey community members to understand their priorities and concerns in this moment. So we surveyed over 3,200 South Los Angeles residents. Scope is based in South LA, and so our primary constituency are South Los Angeles Black and Brown community members. We surveyed folks, and about 45% of respondents said that someone in their household was unemployed or underemployed, and 47% said that difficulty paying rent and utilities was their primary concern. We also conducted an in-depth survey of 335 residents, and I should say that this smaller but longer form survey was conducted earlier in the year, and actually we started this survey prior to the COVID-19 stay-at-home orders. And in this survey, we found that 1 in 4 Latinx and 1 in 5 Black respondents said that difficulty paying utility bills specifically was a concern. And over 35% of respondents identified programs to help save electricity costs and provide renewable electricity was a priority need in their community. Next slide, please. So given, it's within this context that LADWP operates as an agency that provides public services that are essential to health and human life. And so we see the agency is ultimately accountable to the people of Los Angeles, and we feel that LADWP can and should demonstrate leadership regionally as well as within the sector and nationally by committing to advance racial equity and partnering with community stakeholders to achieve it. can go to the next slide, please. So we've made promising gains over the past few years working with LADWP and the Repower LA Coalition and other community stakeholders, many of which have been highlighted by my colleagues and other LADWP staff. And so we're really seeing that this is an opportunity to advance an equity agenda that takes into account both the economic and environmental burdens that are placed on low-income communities of color in Los Angeles. We are offering the following challenges, similar to what Andres from Pacoima Beautiful shared, as areas that need to be addressed in order to make sure that changes we make in the future and existing programs can actually benefit low-income communities of color. So these include under-enrollment in low-income and shared solar programs, the lack of incentives for low-income customers, barriers to job access and support for trainees and workers, the need for stronger equity evaluation, and rising utility debt. And now I'm going to turn it back to Agustin to share more about our recommendations to deal with these challenges and the growing challenges that we're seeing around rising utility debt. You can go to the next slide as well.
Thank you. So, given the crises that low-income communities of color in LA are facing due to COVID and climate change, our coalition, which includes customers from South LA, Wilmington, Pacoima, and of course workers at IBW with IBW Level 18, are recommending the following three solutions to address the impacts of our current crises and a way for DWP to prioritize racial justice by investing in these communities. So the first and most immediate need is the creation of a utility debt forgiveness and bill stabilization program. Currently, there is no plan in place to offer relief once the moratorium ends, meaning thousands of households will face an uncertain future. Even a widespread payment plan may not help. Adding a portion of the unpaid balance to each bill will increase those customers who are already having a hard time making payments. Last Tuesday, the LA City Council passed a motion introduced by Council President Eri Martinez directing LADWP to create solutions to utility debt. So now that the council is fully supportive, it's now on the department to work with us as advocates and the stakeholders to create a utility debt forgiveness that can really support the Angelinos that Laura and Andres mentioned. So in summary to the demands laid out in the presentation, we're calling for total debt forgiveness. This offer relieves customers by completely erasing debt while also creating a bill stabilization program. Erasing debt allows customers to start with a clean slate, but forgiveness alone fails to address the long-term issues of energy burden. That's why we're calling for payments based on customers' monthly income. This combined plan reduces energy burden along with utility debt. Since LADWP, as mentioned earlier in the presentations, has already acknowledged that its low-income customers' needs are not being met, we recommend a relief that goes beyond just forgiveness and instead offers greater savings for families and residents. So, and just to add, debt forgiveness seems expensive at first, but much of the debt is already a sunk cost. When a ratepayer is unable to pay their bills, LADWP does not recover the amount of money that is owed by the shutting off services. Instead, the debt remains unpaid and their customer base decreases. Our research shows that if the department actively creates a plan to not only sort of help save future revenue, but really invest in the community and customers that really need the most. So, next slide, sorry. So our second recommendation for the department to ensure the city recover from these crises is by investing in a robust jobs program. People are dealing with a loss of income, housing, and the threat of illness, as mentioned by Laura. And emerging research shows that COVID-19 is disproportionately killing people of color, especially Black and Latinx Angelinos, the same folks who are being burdened by their energy bills. So we're calling on a deep investment to create and invest in pathways for entry-level and skilled positions for Black, Indigenous, and Latinx Angelinos into the utility. For example, the UPCT program is a model program and pathway to life-changing careers for people of color with the largest public utility in the country. So we're urging you all to invest and expand pathways such as the UPCT program. We need targeted recruitment, diverse procurement, procurement, and local hire policies for these communities. Creating a robust jobs program at LADWP provides an incredible opportunity and commitment to the racial equity that many community leaders and elected officials, including the mayor and council president, Mary Martinez, have called on. And so we really see LADWP as one of the largest public agencies in the city as a workforce development agency that is really, really making sure that they ensure, the livelihood and of Angelenos who need it the most. Our third recommendation is that DWP evaluate and invest in programs that increase equity and resiliency. We're calling for an increased investment in energy efficiency, clean energy, and bill reduction programs targeted at low-income communities and customers. Our partners at EFO will provide specific immediate investments that can be made this year. We need increased accessibility for these programs by making it easier to immediately or dual enroll on these programs. In addition, we need to create more incentives for low-income customers, for example, for the shared solar and other clean energy programs that challenge Prop 26 and other conservative policies. Again, we support many of the robust outreach strategies laid out by our partners at Proclaim the Beautiful, and we encourage you to sort of take them in as great suggestions. So lastly, as mentioned earlier, we want to make sure that there's improved transparency by overhauling the Equity Metrics Data Initiative. So we're calling to improve the quality and depth of the actual data and methodologies, that there be an analysis with clear recommendations, including benchmarking, and more bolder penetration goals, which is really at the heart of how EMDI came into being in 2016. EMDI is a perfect vehicle to make sure LADWP is upholding the priorities of racial equity and inclusion. And we're very excited to see that the progress that has been made from the department and from the team of EMDI, but really encouraging adding shared solar and community outreach to the list of metrics.
And so, in sum, we just want to reiterate that these recommendations will have a tangible and meaningful impact on low-income communities of color in Los Angeles. We feel that these strategies will help alleviate the financial strain of high utility bills and ensure that folks facing shutoffs once the moratorium is lifted are protected. There's also the need to think about the long-term resiliency of economic and energy resiliency in underserved communities and address structural racial inequities in programming and investments. Lastly, the career pathways to good family-sustaining jobs is an important measure that the LADWP can continue to grow and expand in order to build economic and environmental and racial equity in Los Angeles. My colleagues shared the story of one of our grassroots members, Sirenia, and I do have to reiterate that we've actually spoken to so many other folks in residents of South Los Angeles and who have been facing high utility bills, were already on payment plans, are facing high levels of unemployment in their households, or are taking on additional household members because other folks aren't able to sustain themselves during this time. I can't reiterate enough the importance that this can have on low-income families in Los Angeles. Next slide, please.
So lastly, we just want to applaud. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
We just want to applaud the leadership of the board, including Board President Cynthia McLean-Hill and Susana Reyes, to really have us create this opportunity for us to really speak on who we are and what we see as recommendations to recover from these crises. So lastly, our demands include a utility debt forgiveness with bill stabilization, a robust jobs plan, and continue to evaluate and invest in programs that increase equity and resiliency. Again, we have worked with you all for the last 10 years, and we really want to make sure that we continue our working relationship with the department and the board to ensure that low-income communities of color are being met and that they are, becoming more resilient through the programs offered by the department. So next slide. We just want to thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate the presentation. And our final presenter, NRDC.
And CHPC.
Oh, got it. And CHPC. Thank you very much.
Hi, everyone. This is Michelle Hassan with NRDC. I'll start this off. I am the California Policy Manager for our Energy Efficiency for All project. Next slide, please. Just a very top-level overview about who and what Energy Efficiency for All is. It's a national project dedicated to linking both energy and housing sectors in order to tap the benefits of energy efficiency for millions of low-income families across the nation. Next slide. I really want to highlight how Energy Efficiency for All works in Los Angeles because it's the most relevant to this presentation. Our partners here in Los Angeles are LANE, California Housing Partnership, and the Association for Energy Affordability. And the way that we develop, design, and implement priorities for energy efficiency for all in Los Angeles, and to a certain extent the state, is we work with and through the Repower Los Angeles Coalition. So I really hope that throughout this presentation, board members, commissioners, that you see the connectivity between all these presentations, that these are all just different facets of an overarching effort that many experts in the region have decided to focus on as a result of, but also leading up to the COVID crisis. Next. So just very overarching, I want us to remember why this is so important and why equity has to be at the forefront and not an afterthought. We know that our communities of color in Los Angeles are disproportionately bearing the burden of COVID. But we also know that the reason COVID is so devastating is because of the preceding challenges that were impacting our communities of color. And these range from housing shortages, aging infrastructure, misaligned workforce, changing climate, park poor and unhealthy communities, and most importantly, all the racial inequities of our past. We really need to look at every single available resource to create a new path forward. And from the EFA perspective, we really see energy efficiency investments as a key resource. Next. So just overarching, EFA focuses on the multifamily affordable housing sector because this is the sector that we have seen through research and analysis is the least likely to access any type of energy efficiency or utility program, whether it be the tenants or the building owners themselves. And our work primarily is focused on communities and families that spend upward of 20% of their income on energy. So what you've been seeing with all these other presentations is energy burden is core, and energy burden is truly a symptom of racial inequities in our system. So we really have chosen to have a finite approach and look at specifically the multifamily affordable housing sector. And also another tenet of the way we work is our recommendations, approaches, and analysis are driven by both owners and tenants and environmental justice and labor partners that we work with in the Repower Coalition and other coalitions across the nation. Next. So, Los Angeles. In June 22nd of 2018, the Board of Commission approved a wonderful overarching plan to focus more on customer equity. Just a reminder, because some of you board members are new, This plan proposed accelerated reduction in fossil fuel generation, increased renewable resource targets for energy storage, additional energy efficiency and solar programs focused on customer equity. Now, what's really important about this specific bullet point is that the board approved $100 million over 5 years in energy efficiency investments specifically for the multifamily affordable housing sector. That was in June 22nd of 2018, and we are in September of 2020. And we're still finding challenges getting the money out the door and getting it to this sector. Also, the board approved the pilot virtual net metering program, which my colleague Blanca will go on to in further detail later. Next. So, IFA, I think there's something missing from this slide, but IFA recommends the following for investments: improved program structure, infrastructure, improved direct access. Hold on, I'm sorry, there's something missing, so I have to pull up my own slides. Sorry.
It's okay on half of the screen.
Yeah, I see it over there. And we have.
There we go.
Yeah, so let me get the 3 primary areas of opportunity that IFA recommends as opportunity. Now, I just want to note that if you go to our website, IFA.org, you can find an exhaustive report that took us 3 years to develop with support of DWP staff. We worked on it with Lane, CHPC, multiple stakeholders, and these recommendations are a result of stakeholder input from the utility and our own modeling and analysis. So our overarching recommendations are to improve program infrastructure and design, expand holistic and deep savings and retrofits. And we'll talk more about what deep savings really mean. It's not a light bulb. It's savings that are palpable in folks' pocketbooks, right? It's more about looking at the tens of dollars that can be saved per utility bill rather than the cent. And that only comes through deep savings that are a result of really deep audits, which, Blanca will talk more about in the LIWIT program, but also holistic measures, not just one-off. And of course, setting program performance metrics. Now, I will note that I'm not going to go too much into detail here, but one of the tenets of program infrastructure and design is of course, accessibility. And if you go to our report, you will see one of our primary recommendations was a one-stop shop for low-income tenants as well as owners to access all these programs, because the amount of programs available are almost overwhelming to the average person, and building owners have so many different programs that they're looking at that it's really difficult to assess which one is appropriate. So really, streamlining that would be important. Next slide, please. So the IFA Coalition, and I would say NRDC, does truly value our partnership with DWP. We have been a longstanding partner of the utility and continue to support the innovative work the utility does. And the IFA Coalition has noted that there are existing programs that create a great opportunity for deep investment, direct install, and accessibility. And 2 of those programs are the Home Energy Improvement Program and the Low Income Weatherization Program. Next. So HYPE, which is the Home Energy Improvement Program, we recommend a few tweaks to it to really make it hit home and create those concrete and palpable savings. Expanding HYPE to include a range of measures, not solely insulation. So almost a hybrid of some of the programs that David Jaco has mentioned, like an AC optimization program. Also, what I really want to note with HYPE and the other programs that we're recommending is they are not based on fossil fuel. They are promoting fuel switching measures. I do want to note that NRDC and IFA would prefer that our energy efficiency programs do not invest in gas efficiency. And that's something else we can talk about later, but I didn't want to make it the central focus of this. But that is an undertone that I would like to underscore right now. And so expanding measures and really focusing on all direct install programs. And we think that HYPE could create a special offering specifically for multifamily projects and properties. And the one thing that's really important about HYPE is to reach the scale that is needed. We would really have to expand the UPC, the utility craft trainee program. Next. So, and another priority in terms of this UPCT program, we believe there are real innovative solutions that would require leadership from DWP, the commission, and our general manager. We think that the potential to include investments from this $100 million to create incentives to expand the number of journeymen who are needed to oversee the work of the UPCTs is really important. And this would expand both energy efficiency work and the apprenticeship program, which is also a primary opportunity for addressing racial inequities in our system. Next. I'll give it to Blanca now.
Thank you, Michelle. Good morning, everyone. My name is Blanca de la Cruz. I'm the Sustainable Housing Program Director with California Housing Partnership. I will focus on the second major program we want to see expanded in the city of Los Angeles. And this is based on the statewide low-income weatherization program known as LIWIP. LIWIP is one example of a successful whole building energy efficiency program. It is a building decarbonization program funded by cap-and-trade proceeds. It is designed specifically for the multifamily affordable housing sector. It prioritizes low-income renters in disadvantaged communities by working directly with housing providers, and it offers incentives to offset the cost of energy efficiency upgrades, as well as it provides tenant solar PV installations. It has three key program features that allow it to maximize funding and deliver significant benefits to tenants and property owners, while remaining flexible enough to suit different building types. The major features include, first, it provides energy efficiency and solar incentives under a single program. Second, it provides tenant solar, which means that tenants receive solar credits on their electricity bills through virtual net metering. Tenant solar is vital to enable the implementation of other key measures. Third, it offers free technical assistance to the property owner to guide them through the entire retrofit process from the beginning to the end. In its first 5 years, LIWIP invested almost $64 million in the low-income multifamily and through energy efficiency upgrades and renewables. It benefit 9,200 low-income households through the incentives and technical assistance directed to the property owner. It provides 30% average energy bill savings for tenants, and on average, projects reduce overall energy usage by 40%. The GHG reduction translates into getting 36,400 cars off the road. Next slide, please. Now I want to turn to the LADWP version of the LIWIP model. In close collaboration with EFI-LA, LADWP staff has dedicated a significant portion of the $100 million earmarked for low-income ratepayers to develop an energy efficiency program modeled on the statewide LIWIP program. The projected budget for a local LIWIP program is $69 million over 5 years, and this is assuming the program offers energy efficiency and solar under a single program. This amount closely matches the first year of the statewide LIWIP program, and so we have for reference a level of impact and track record for the program. So we urge the board and the department staff to ensure that the key program design elements are maintained. Any meaningful alteration in the program design could deeply impact the enrollment in a local version and result in a non-successful program. For example, without solar PV incentives, the program would result in lower savings for property owners and lower tenant energy bills. It would also make it difficult for building decarbonization projects to pencil out. And it would make it almost impossible to meet the projected expenditure goal of $69 million over 5 years. I want to also note that LADWP's virtual net metering pilot is very important to the success of a local LIWIP program, as it will help deliver deep energy savings to tenants. We know that department staff is making some progress in developing a mechanism to deliver solar economic benefits to multifamily tenants in the LADWP territory. Similarly, omitting comprehensive technical assistance would hurt the program, but we're happy to report that this will be included in a local LIWIP. So I want to emphasize the need to include solar and virtual net metering. Next slide, please. Now let's turn to timing of program delivery. I think we can all appreciate the urgency created by the COVID crisis. The pandemic has compounded the inequities and energy burden among low-income ratepayers who are in dire need of relief now. It is vital that these programs become operational as soon as possible to deliver much-needed financial relief. The benefit of a multifamily HYPE offering, as well as a local LIWIP program, will have a substantial impact in delivering economic benefits, but this should only be the beginning of a broader strategy. LADWP must double down on investments in these communities to help protect them against the next inevitable crisis in the years to come. So we urge LADWP to continue developing new opportunities for investment to allow consistent and permanent funding of programs for low-income ratepayers that are better suited and effective in meeting the needs of the underserved communities. Next slide, please. We are here today to urge the board and department staff for tangible commitments to improve equity and inclusion through deep cost savings for low-income renters in communities of color who are deeply impacted by COVID and have historically been underserved. Investments in energy efficiency programs focused on multifamily customers expands equity and also improves LADWP's capability for equitable investment for clean energy. LADWP has the opportunity to implement holistic, equitable programming through the following three-pronged approach of addressing the need of deep energy savings through the program modeled after LIWIP and the expansion of HYPE, offering tailored to multifamily customers. And second, by creating a program to erase debt to low-income ratepayers that has accumulated during the COVID crisis. We include here nonprofit affordable housing owners that pay the utilities for their low-income tenants that are struggling to pay rent, such as permanent supportive housing. And third, by prioritizing the adjustment to the low-income discount rate program. COVID-19 has created a new reality in which we look to LADWP to lead an innovative solution and investments that reflect the need in the multifamily sector. We also want DWP to ensure that low-income customers are protected now and in the future. EFA-LA is ready to work closely with DWP staff and confronting the new challenges. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We're now going to open the conversation to commissioner questions, and I'll start at the board. Is there either Commissioner Neiman Brady or Commissioner Berard, any questions on any of the presentations?
None at this time, thank you.
President McClain-Hill, I believe Commissioner Berard had some comments.
Yeah, I just let her get back. Got it. Commissioner Berard?
Yes, I'm here.
Did you have any comments on the presentation so far or questions?
Yes, I wanted to commend Sharon Grove and David Jaco and John Chin. They are very responsive to community and to what's going on in the community. And I think that we really need to say a big thank you to them for their presentations. And also, they have made many improvements over the time that I've been on the board, and I commend them for that. I also want to mention that in the presentation so far, I was really gratified to see that our program for low-income customers takes into account the impact of COVID on those communities. I think that's very important, and I wanted to just mention that. And I want to thank Pacoima Beautiful. I see them. I used to see them before we had COVID at the Valley Alliance and Neighborhood Councils, and they're a great group of people, and they're so lucky to have Nori Martinez there in representing them, because she really does care about the community and the people who live there. And I want to commend Pacoima Beautiful for all the wonderful work they've been doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I have a range of questions, but I will defer to Commissioner Reyes first.
A few questions on the equity metrics. In terms of the penetration of our energy efficiency programs, maybe David or John can answer that. What metrics do we have in order to measure that?
So I'll start on that. And if I need to ask John to come support, I will. We have the equity data metrics cover about 5 efficiency programs. Mm-hmm. And so we're tracking the penetration, but we're just now at the stage where we're setting goals and mm-hmm. demonstrating where we're actually penetrating the city, where the various programs are impacting the city. So the short answer to your question is we don't have those results yet, but the process has now been put into place to be able to generate those. At a high level, the numbers I showed you, we've served about, and some of those programs overlap in terms of constituents, but about 270,000 customer participation projects outside of the LED distribution, which of course is just it's a door hanger program. We look at the city as about a third low income, and so when we're hitting 270, close to 300,000 customers out of a rate base of 1.4 million, we're not there yet. But we have a sense that some of our programs, combined across the years we've been doing the programs, we're getting close to touching, to some degree, at least half of the low-income customers. Now, on top of that, and that's very high level, I believe Sharon can speak to a consulting contract she has in place to further dive into the participation characteristics across those programs. Specifically, HYPE is one that's being looked at, but obviously these other ones as well. One thing I would like to do with the AC optimization program, as I stated, I included it in my presentation because it's a very important program to the Valley where there's a lot of folks on fixed incomes. There may be homeowners with high equity in a home, but they're on fixed incomes. And so we want to better characterize that market. Again, like I said, the majority of participation has been in the Valley, mostly the West Valley. But we really need to get tighter numbers around those. The potential, the need, I say potential, but it's really the need, and then our progress in getting there. So long story short, we have touched a good number of low-income customers, like I said, probably close to half of them. But then the question is how much benefit, and how much maximum benefit have they actually been able to achieve? And I think that's the next phase, especially as we go forward with that evaluation contract.
And the reason I'm asking it is because the controller's audit, that was one of the major issues that they want us to address. And it was also mentioned by Pacoima Beautiful about the hard to reach customers. How do we define those? In terms of the penetration level, what is the percentage of participation relative to the eligible population? For example, what is the percentage of participation in disadvantaged communities? And then, the participation level by customers defined as hard to reach. And those are huge challenging areas that I have not really heard how we're working it, right? The depth of intervention. We always say the average kilowatt hours saved, but what are the average savings per participants in terms of really not just the energy savings, but also on the dollars saved,
bills,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you for making sure that now there are goals that were developed. So my question there is, how was the goal developed? I mean, how were they developed? Is that in consultation with our communities in those neighborhoods where we have those efficiency programs or low-income discount programs? That consultation piece, I think, is one that I'm looking for, and I haven't really heard it.
Yeah.
How are we reaching these decisions without really the feedback from folks who are on the ground and who are affected? And how are we making sure that we're looking at impacts and outcomes and not just goals?
John Chen's group oversaw the aggregation of those targets. I know Sharon was quite involved with the programs that she administers on a daily basis in setting them. But I think it's important to consider that all that was those are draft. As far as the level of outreach, it probably has not been sufficient in terms of really firming those up and getting them set aggressively. I think at this point we've set up the mechanisms to track the data metrics. We've got an evaluation contract in place. I think the next steps are really to get to that granular level, and we'll be able to do that with the communities when we know the specific communities based on the analysis that either have really good participation, what's working well, and the ones that obviously will be the ones that need more assistance, more help.
So you're at the mic first. Congratulations. I want to both drill down a little bit, but also step back. Last week at the council committee where President Martinez spoke about the department and its commitment to actual equity and service to its lower income ratepayers and communities of color, she was harsh, but from my perspective, fair. And there is absolutely nothing that I've seen in this room today that has given me much solace about that being changed in as urgent a factor or in as urgent a manner as is required. And I am really disappointed to hear about we're getting started. We've got this in place and that in place and this target and this goal, et cetera, and also the rather disjointed way in which we're approaching this entire topic. It is remarkable to look at, quote, low-income serving energy efficiency programs and to see things like the annual or the average bill savings per year to a customer is $97 or 15 cents or $127. And I think Suzanne is correct. We generally see these presented to us in terms of kilowatt hours saved. And those savings are pretty significant. So we're getting what we want out of the bargain. But if we look at it through the lens of what else over and above the energy efficiency savings are we providing to our customers, we just have to be straight up and honest and recognize that it is not much.
That is why that's why I presented it that way.
No, and I really do. Let me say this. I do want to compliment the staff work that has gone on in the past and that resulted in the presentations that were brought forward today. They are well done, they are honest, and straightforward. From my perspective, we have to approach this, though, with a real, from the perspective of being very genuine about where we're falling short and what we need to do quickly to do better. And there are things that we obviously need to do quickly to do better. I'm very interested in the presentation that was made by the last organization. And y'all will have to forgive me. I'm super bad at names. And when you start to get to initials, I get really bad. But the California Housing Partnership and NRDC presentation that spoke to sort of the deeper dive programs that offer far more substantial savings to ratepayers and customers, while also offering tremendous benefits to the department in terms of energy savings. I'm very interested in that presentation. I'm interested in your comments with respect to the department beginning to prepare to get involved in a weatherization program. I just want to know by when.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not really comfortable with all of the we're doing and it's coming and this is going to happen, et cetera, because we have people that are suffering today. So we have to really begin to focus not on everything in the world we're doing, but on those things that we are doing that will offer the most benefit, not just to us, but to our customers as well. And we've got to think about what benefit looks like differently. The other piece that I'm also interested in, so actually tell me a little bit about those the two programs that were just discussed, the EEFA recommendations for investments. I'm interested in what we're doing along those lines and by when. What are our plans? How is that being factored? Marty, I'm going to be very interested in this. Not just what we're planning to do, but what we're prioritizing and how we're budgeting to actually move those priorities forward. Because this kind of leveled out approach where we're doing everything all at the same time and we get a little bit of this and a little bit of that, I mean, it's, to me, an outrage that it's taken 13 years to not even meet a goal of 200,000 refrigerator exchanges. 13 years? I mean, what are we talking about? This is insane. So if we could just talk about those programs, that would be helpful.
Sure.
So what is the department, where's the department with respect to the Home Energy Improvement Program, which I know that we already are participating in, and also with respect to the Low Income Weatherization Program?
Okay, well, let me start broadly, and I appreciate the focus on the broad context. And that's one of the reasons I presented the outcomes in terms of bill savings, jumping through kilowatt hours, because kilowatt hours are pretty abstract, at least to the customer. And yes, they're generating us, savings that offset our system, but this is about how we're helping the customers. So, and you're right. The one-off approach to some light bulbs here and something here, and it's $100 a year or $15 a year, that comes through. And it points to exactly what our partners with NRDC and CHPC have been working on and telling us, and we've been listening, that it has to be a comprehensive approach. And so that takes us to priorities, get LIWIP in place, and work as much as we can to increase the HYPE program and get that back to capacity. There's keen interest outside with stakeholders for both of those approaches. HYPE, because it's a workforce development for good jobs at DWP. It's a local 18 priority. LIWIP, because we recognize no matter how much we add staff to DWP, it's not going to serve, it can't possibly serve the entire need, especially when we have lots of other core resource needs within the department, infrastructure-wise, enabling the transition to 100% renewables and having that be reliable with enough storage, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a bigger question than me, but but it's certainly it's a looming issue that has to be resolved.
Notes. Yes.
Yes, and so the twin prongs are HYPE for those reasons I laid out, and LIWIP for everything else for the actual at scale approach. So we already have the contract drafted for LIWIP. The contractor so you will see a board package on that, hopefully within a month or two. That has already been drafted in close concert with the Mayor's Working Group, in close concert with NRDC, as well as a number of other stakeholders. Commissioner Vice President Susanna Reyes is on that regular call as well. It is currently hung up on an NOC issue. Minus that, it could be on the next board meeting.
So I will be interested in understanding more about both what we're seeking to do and what the issues are with respect to the NOC. And with HYPE, they're both hung up in the same fashion?
No, HYPE is not an NOC because
right.
it's internally run. It's just a question of prioritizing the resources allocated to that program balanced against the other core resource needs of the department.
I see.
And we have, because of the COVID outbreak, we've kept our programs going, but the programs that involved us going to a customer's homes, we've suspended during the COVID outbreak. So hopefully we're getting to the point we can get those going again. But programs that took us into someone's house, we suspended doing that probably since March.
A couple of things, because I do want to talk a bit about, we should revisit that conversation, but I do want to talk about HYPE and other work or other programs that specifically result in increasing the workforce. When we think about equity and what that looks like, and I'm confident that when this is being discussed more broadly, it's not just about what our programs are, but it's also about our own internal operations and the degree to which we have the capacity through the work that we choose to do and how we prioritize that work to actually increase the workforce and specifically increase the employment levels of people in underserved communities and communities of color. Again, this is something we've talked about. It comes up ad nauseum, but we do not get it done. And talking about it is just, it's almost obscene in this environment. So I was interested and heartened to see the community stakeholders repeatedly point out that there are opportunities for this department to working with labor through its UPCT program to increase the number of folks who are employed and who therefore would be able to pay their utility bills. And that's something that I'm going to want to speak to at a at another point. So with respect to the two programs that we just discussed, you're telling me that one of them is a matter of our own internal commitment of resources and priorities, and the other has to do with working through some issues with labor.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I will be interested in certainly a report back on both of those items in the next 30 days. And hopefully we'll be looking at contracts with respect to those items. And I do want us, though, to recognize that as we start to move these things forward, that we have to be prepared to put forward the resources to scale them, to get them moving and operating, because the impacts for these programs, I mean, the benefits are things that are necessary. And when we think about necessary here, we think about how quickly are we going to meet our energy, our energy saving and energy efficiency goals. When people in the community are thinking about necessary, they're thinking about eating. And we really do have to, as this city's utility, tap into the fact that people are, they've got to eat. They're trying to pay their bills. If they can't pay their utility bills, I mean, they can't get they're having trouble paying their medicine. We've got a tremendous homeless crisis here. This department could be leveraged to do so much more if we start to think about what we're doing in ways that provide benefit not just to the department's energy-related goals, but benefit to the city's equity goals in a broader and deeper way. So those are my questions for you. Thank you, David. I appreciate it. Susanna, did you have any other comments or questions? If not, I have a list. Just so you know.
I just have a question for the general manager on the utility debt relief program. Because of the COVID-19, I know we have moratorium on shut-offs that's going to end this year, end of the year. And the debt relief that COVID-19 is really exposing the economic fragility of so many Angelenos, and it's quickening the city's reckoning with utility debt, right? In part because more people are falling behind on their payments. And although we do have payment arrangements, I think there's some, there are actions that are really necessary for low-income residents to have, to afford their utility bills and not be buried by other fees or penalties that are aftershocks of overdue bills. Eventually, the bills will be overdue. And taking into consideration what President Nuri Martinez has articulated to really look at our low-income customers who are behind on their bills and sort of like make things right, for those customers. How are we? I mean, this moratorium will end at the end of the year. Are we now at a point where we can work with the community-based organization like Lane and the Repower LA Coalition to really explore options so that we can come up with reasonable, fair recommendations to address the utility debt relief? So I'm putting it at the table because there is a timetable. It's a timing issue. And I just want our general manager to give us his thoughts initially as to what can we do, or are we thinking about it before we can make a motion? As well, right?
I think that Marty indicated that the department was working on coming up with ways to address the debt relief motion that the council president has put forward. So I think from my perspective, what I am interested in, just based on, again, the urgency of the circumstance, I'm interested in seeing some options presented to this board no later than 30 days from now that would address both debt relief and debt stabilization. I would like to make sure that the department is, as they are working through these issues, also consulting the ratepayer advocate's office and taking advantage of those resources. I think it's critically important that the department takes seriously its role in dealing with, this enormous burden and crisis that is confronting ratepayers. So, I would not, I don't have a question as to whether it can be done. I am suggesting or directing specifically that it be done and that there be options available. I realize that there will be some coordination also necessary with council, but those options should be presented to this board within 30 days to deal with those specific issues. Does that cover what you're trying to achieve?
That covers, and also one addition is also to consult with community-based organizations that they may have some ideas.
That's fine. I just
thank you.
So that would be great. Thank you. I have a couple of questions for Sharon.
Yes, President McLean-Hill.
Oh,
I'm on the call.
Oh, you're on the call. Okay,
Thank
great.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, David. So I'm curious about a number of things in the presentation that you made. So I'm interested in what is the criteria for the low-income discount rate?
Okay, before Sharon goes into that, I'm sorry to interrupt. President McLean-Hill, as you may recall, I have to depart from the meeting early today, and I just want to make sure we address item 24 at some point. So I don't know if there's a moment to pause on this item and return and take up 24 and return to it, or just to bear in mind that I want to address 24 before the hour.
We'll do our very best to get to 24 before the hour's out. Sharon?
So your question is specifically about the criteria for the low-income discount program?
Yes.
Okay, so for the low-income discount program, it's basically customers need to align with the federal poverty guidelines, and each year we come to board. It's either in the about July timeframe and realign with the CPUC guidelines, which also align with the federal poverty guidelines. And so more specifically for customers to qualify, as long as they submit a W-2 form or their last paycheck, if we have some sort of validation that they are within those guidelines, then we approve them and sign them up for the program.
And if they don't have a W-2?
We try to work with them, but that's our standard. We look for just a last paycheck. Sometimes we can just get some sort of attestation from the employer. We try to be as flexible as possible.
For instance, what do you do now when you've got people that have been laid off en masse, so they don't have a paycheck to provide, they don't have an employer?
We are addressing that right now. We do not have a mechanism within the confines of our low income criteria to be able to sign someone up if they have, let's say, no paycheck. So this qualifies low-income customers, but we are seeking ways to qualify no-income customers.
All right, and I'm looking at the participation levels.
Yes.
And it's interesting that, they've been pretty flat and current, they're going down, which is surprising when poverty is going up. And the goal is pretty flat. So I'm just trying to understand what the rationale, or how that is the case.
Thank you for that. We are very concerned that the low-income participation is going down. We think it's a combination of many things. We think it's a combination that the amount of the discount hasn't changed in over 10 years. We think that the outreach can be more pointed, so that that's why we looked at those heat maps. We think we can really work on the outreach. But primarily, our concern, we have looked at other area utilities that have much higher participation rates. And so we have deep concern that whether it's the criteria or the amount of the discount or the outreach or a combination of all three, we need to look at all three of those to be able to address the decline in the participation of our low-income program.
And then I looked at your customer program awareness, and I'm trying to understand what the criteria is for determining that something has good awareness. The low-income discount program has 73% awareness in total customers. In new customers, it is 62%. There are a number of programs where the awareness doesn't crack 40%. So what is our criteria for good program awareness? How do you reach that benchmark?
Well, we would love it to be 100% across the board. I think we do these surveys because we're trying to determine what else we need to do to remind customers that these are available. We were pretty gratified that 62% of brand new customers did recall being told about our low-income discount program, and obviously we weren't surprised that that goes up a little bit the longer they're customers, because we try to outreach in different ways, as I mentioned earlier, on envelopes and bill inserts and direct mailing, that type of thing. But of course, we would like all customers to know about all our discount programs all the time. So the way this is surveyed is, do you recall, do you know, are you aware? So they're asked that question, and that's how we get the results. But I have to say that I would like it to be as high as possible.
Well, I guess I'm just concerned that a presentation that's showing awareness levels that average less than 70% represents good customer awareness. And then I was actually concerned, frankly, quite a lot about the ongoing activities. It was, and again, it's a very good presentation, but it doesn't really get me to anything done. Because from my perspective, it is not rocket science to figure out why we have such low participation in our, quote, low-income discount program, and to remedy that. And when I see these timelines and all of these, programs and process evaluations, I mean, it looks like full employment for some people and no results for the people who need us to do something. So I'm not going to spend as much time as my current state of agitation might dictate. I'm going through all of this, but I will say that I am very interested in a report back from you 30 days from now, telling me how we are remedying these issues, not just, that they exist, that you're concerned about them, that we're not, performing as well as we should, but how these will be remedied and remedied quickly. Because again, we have people who are, not only the ratepayers or our customers, but, our fellow citizens who need us to act, not fail. And there's a point at which accountability has to become real. And we are not performing at the level that we should be performing because we are not delivering results to our customers.
Understood.
If I may add, President McLean-Hill, there was a motion that I sponsored in March with regards to the department's response to the controller's audit, so that this action that you're asking for can be folded into that as well, because that was one of the higher or top recommendations that the controller has asked the department to take a look into. So thank you for bringing that up.
Well, no, thank you. And since we set the agenda, then we know what will be on the agenda in 30 days. I think that covers my comments and feedback. Are there any questions from the general manager?
Questions from me?
Yes, about anything that the staff has been asked to come back with?
No, I think we're clear on that. And I hope you don't have the impression that we're not trying to tackle these issues, because there's been issues with, getting people to read, pay attention, remember bill inserts and advertisements is always a challenge in this industry, especially because people are bombarded with information. And so we are continually trying to look for new ways to outreach and contact people and to try to make the application process earlier. We'll make sure that we bring back the answers that you're looking for.
Well, for instance, the criteria itself. We're 6 months into a pandemic, and so I don't believe that we have been working urgently enough if we're still trying to figure out how to come up with a way of offering discounts and relief to consumers 6 months later. And I don't know that that's going to be done 30 days from now. And I will tell you that I'm not very interested in presentations that tell me that things are underway. I'm interested in presentations that tell me when something is going to be done. And I'm not convinced that we are adequately thinking about how we maximize and leverage our workforce development capacity. When we have programs that we could level up that would specifically assist in workforce development. And I'm not convinced at all that any of this has been a priority of this department, because frankly, we have piss poor metrics. We have targets that haven't been presented to this board in a way that we can evaluate the targets. We've just set targets. We talk about the equity metrics with great pride, and that is deserved. And I don't want to let another moment go by without, remembering, former Vice President Bill Funderburk. He worked very hard to get this department to begin to use that as a prism. But using that as a prism means resourcing, it means benchmarking, it means thinking about what meaningful results are and then achieving them. And I frankly do not believe that we are there yet. I think we're going to get there. I think we want to be there. But I believe that we need to be focused and have a great deal more urgency around getting there than we have today. Thank everyone for their presentation today. I, in particular, want to also compliment the presentations that were provided by the outside community stakeholders. We appreciate your time, your interest, your continued engagement with the department. And I will note that each and every presenter today complimented the department on its partnership And I know that that translates to individual staff members here who, go the extra mile in terms of supporting their participation and their engagement, and work with them and take them seriously. So I appreciate that as well. With that, we will close item 7 and move to our regular agenda. And in light of Commissioner Neiman Neiman Brady's.
If only Neiman Marcus.
I so miss shopping. Commissioner Neiman Brady's imminent departure. If we could take up item 24, that would be terrific. And Commissioner, did you wanted a presentation on that item, or did you want I think you wanted a more robust discussion with Dr. Pickle. Was that where you were?
Exactly. Yeah, thank you. In particular, I observed the option component in here and have noticed them in the past, and unclear on how, as a department, we evaluate those options, both in the negotiating of them, and also in the actual practicality of evaluating when they become available. And then in reading Dr. Pickle's recommendation, I think I would like to make a motion or, instruct the department to create a motion for the next meeting for all future PPSs to more fulsomely evaluate options so that we can really understand what the value of them are to the department. And Dr. Pickle, please elaborate if you would.
Yes. Well, 6 years ago, we made a number of recommendations on improvements we would like to make to the power purchase process. Some of those things have moved ahead. One area where we think it's important from a ratepayer perspective is to look at a couple extreme cases in the initial bidding. When options are discussed and evaluated in ongoing negotiations, but not considered an alternative in the initial bidding, you aren't really, we think, giving it a fair look. So we would like future procurement activities to reflect a no option to buy out as one of the alternatives, and its effect on pricing, and a unique option that is purchase of project and land for $1 at the end of 30 years. This creates tax problems in some cases, but we think it's another important benchmark on the range of alternatives.
Thank you. Nicole, did you have anything else?
No, I just procedurally, I'm not sure what the best way to implement this is, and I guess I'm looking to Joe to guide me.
Yeah, I was going to say, what you would do is you would work with Joe and perhaps Dr. Pickle in putting together a motion for consideration by the board at the next meeting or some future meeting.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you. And then, just to move on from this topic, but to raise one question related to the option, I am curious how the team does consider the option and how it will evaluate it going forward.
Okay, James Barner, Assistant Director of Clean Grid LA Strategy. So we asked for the option to purchase the project at the earliest time that the developer can do that, and it typically is at the end of when tax equity partners have received all of their benefits, and at that time they can usually sell the project to us, and that's typically been around the 10-year time frame. For this project, it's at the 13-year time frame, and that's the first opportunity. We have 2 years before that point to exercise that option. As far as evaluation, in some of our PPAs, we have a floor and a ceiling price, and that's a separate negotiated item. So for the Eland project, there was a lot of negotiating back and forth for that project. And so that's considered, later in the process, not early in the process. We haven't actually looked at options other than the fact that we want them in our contracts. We want to potentially own up to 50% or more of our projects down the road. We just make sure that option is available to us and not necessarily a valuation of it. With regards to the $1 buyout price at the end, we have some concerns about doing so. We can explore this further. We've talked about it with the ratepayer advocate, and we've also talked about it internally and through SCAPA, and we haven't really come to a consensus on whether we can, we see that as being feasible in the future, but we can certainly explore it further.
Commissioner?
And from a feasibility perspective, are you suggesting that entities won't submit the bids? Or I'm not sure I understand what you mean by feasibility.
Yeah, so when we've asked the developers for that price, we've done it both for Elan and for this project, they were very reluctant to give that pricing until we actually had a signed contract at SCAPA. And that's so that they protect their negotiating position. What it does reveal to people like the ratepayer advocate and ourselves, it would be very helpful information, because I would know exactly what their cost of their project would be, and I could use that in the negotiations to our advantage.
I don't know. I mean, I respectfully disagree. I'm not sure it conveys all of that. It conveys the relative information for us. And in my experience of solicitation, you're able to get the bidders to submit a wide variety of pricing proposals, and they're incented to provide all the different options because they want you to select one of them. And so perhaps it means requesting those earlier in the process. Maybe that is something that gets implemented. But I'm fine with us having an additional conversation about this before it becomes the official motion, if that is what you're requesting. So Dr. Pickle and I, and you can follow up and have discussions further on this, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, and I think it needs to be a conversation with SCAPA as well, and the SCAPA members as well, because we have a rolling RFP at SCAPA, and so when we put a requirement into the RFP at SCAPA, we need to have consensus on that.
Well, let's work with us internally, and we can go from there.
And I'd like to add that it's important to get in the initial screening RFP at SCAPA, where they bid a no buyout option and this unique dollar after 30 years buyout option as well.
Understood.
Because as you said, in the initial solicitation process, people comply.
Are we?
So why don't we start at the following? Why don't we try to have a discussion in the next 2 weeks, and with the ultimate target of in meeting in a month, having something on the agenda, a motion on the agenda in some format.
Okay, that's great. With respect to item 24, is there an objection to, or is there a motion to move this item forward?
So moved.
Second, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Berard?
She's not present.
President McLean-Hill,
Yes.
Commissioner Neiman Brady,
Yes.
Vice President Reyes,
Yes.
3 votes.
Terrific. Then the motion passes 3-1. Could you please, I'd like to bring up item 25.
Yes. Barbara Matlock? Can you get security? Can you get Barbara Matlock from the lobby, please?
You know what? Why don't we, while we're waiting, if we could call item 11.
Great, thank you.
I'm concerned about losing our quorum.
Commissioner, I have the same issue with, I have 2 items on closed session that need a vote. And there are board packages on both of those items that have been submitted. So if it looks like we're going to lose a quorum, because I do see an empty frame there, I would ask if I could have those items considered.
Okay, terrific. So if we could move forward with item 11.
Sure. Good afternoon, Commissioners. Anselmo Collins, Director of Water Operations Division. And first of all, I want to wish you a Feliz Mes de la Herencia Hispana, which means Happy Hispanic Heritage Month. And it runs from September 15th all the way to October 15th, so we're actually in the middle of it right now. And it started back in the 60s. It was only a week-long observance, and it grew all the way to a whole month now, which we celebrate. So we thought that first of all, the reason for it is to celebrate the histories, the cultures, and the contributions of Americans who have ancestors from either Spain, Mexico, Central, South America, as well as the Caribbean. So we thought that what better way for us to celebrate here than by actually announcing today, with the board's approval, the formation of the LADWP Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. And we're very proud of that. And it will be known as LADWP SHIP. It's especially significant, actually, because SHIP was founded right here in LA. And it was actually founded by city employees, city engineers that founded SHIP. So this is kind of full circle for us, and we're very excited about this. Like most Latino engineers here at DWP, I was a very active member of SHIP in college. However, as I graduated and moved on to my professional life, I dropped off. And that's something that's very consistent. And we believe that having a SHIP chapter here is going to help us bridge that gap that exists right now. It's going to help us provide better support and benefit to our employees, the communities that we serve, and also it's going to allow us to support the department's goals when it comes to racial equity. And also it's going to make our family, our DWP family, stronger. Or like we say, La Familia. You're going to hear that term a lot today because that's one of the core values of SHIP, and it's something very important to all of us. So I'm not going to take too much longer because we want to get to the presentation. I want to just say thank you in advance to the board for the consideration, to the entire executive team, starting with their general manager, Marty Adams, for all the support they provided us in setting this up. And I'd like to do is bring Evelyn Cortez Davis up for a second. She, along with myself, are the executive advisors to SHIP, and she wants to say a couple of words. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Height difference. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Evelyn Cortez Davis, Assistant Director of Water Operations. And I'm so very proud to be with you today. This is a significant milestone for the department and for me personally, as a first-generation immigrant from El Salvador, as the first person in my family to graduate from college, and as one of only 10 Hispanic senior engineering managers at LADWP. The Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers has hundreds of geographical, professional, and student chapters nationwide, and even a couple of international ones. But only a handful are company-based corporate chapters that are pretty much in the private sector. If approved by this board, LADWP will become the very first public agency in the country to establish a professional SHIP chapter. This is a significant moment. We want to thank the board for recognizing the importance of representation. And for providing the direction that allows us to lead and to innovate in the areas of diversity and inclusion, in addition to all of the other areas of our essential work. This is a very special day, so congratulations to all of us. And without further ado, our main presentation will be by Ms. Ofelia Rubio. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Ofelia Rubio, Waterworks Engineer with the Water System, and thank you so much for the opportunity to address the board. We'll get started with demographics, and before that, I actually like to mention that there are a number of employees that are listening in because of this matter. We're all pretty excited, of course. For demographics, LA engineers, or LA DWP engineers within the water, power, and joint system, there's approximately 1,300 of us. And of that 1,300, about 26% are Hispanic engineers. When you compare that to the Los Angeles Hispanic population, that's about half, because that population is about 49%. Here we show different levels within the engineering ranks and representation. As you could see, as Hispanics move up into management, that number does go down. The chapter would be in line with what LADWP is currently doing to help with the workforce and representation with the workforce, as well as the executive directives of the mayor for gender and racial equity, as well as LADWP's Equity Metrics Initiative. The draft mission statement is to build a network committed to a diverse and inclusive culture that empowers all employees by providing partnerships, mentorships, and career development opportunities while collectively serving one another and the LADWP communities. Anselmo mentioned core values, and SHIP's core values are very much in line with LADWP's core values. They believe in service, continuous improvement, resiliency, and what SHIP calls familia, family. We'd like to get started with just showing a short film of what family, or a short video of what family means to some of our SHIP, or some of our employees.
On behalf of LADWP, I am honored and excited to announce the formation of the LADWP SHIP chapter. Nearly 50 years ago, a group of engineers wanted to empower the Latino community through STEM, and they formed SHIP. We are excited about the partnership with SHIP and what it brings to not just our employees, but the communities that we serve. So I welcome you all to join our LADWP familia.
That I have two of my children working here, Brenda Redondo, who's also an engineer in trunkline design, and Wilfredo Paz Bermudez, who's also an engineering associate in civil structural.
I think La Familia has always been here. I think that's been highlighted by the fact that my dad has been here and has inspired not just me and my sister, but a good amount of other engineers.
The DWP Familia has influenced me to possibly reach out to the Hispanic communities to find people that I could relate to. I feel like this is very important for us, especially for me as a new hire, because it'll help me reach out to those who have gone through so much throughout their career, and will help guide me in the right direction.
I'm the first engineer in my family. Not only engineer, I'm the first college graduate in my family. And I feel like there are others at the department who might be in a similar situation, and it is encouraging and insightful to see others who have maybe paved the road and can enlighten us to how to professionally grow and expand our careers. My involvement in SHIP can benefit others in various ways. One of my proudest achievements is that after I was involved here as a student engineer, I went back to Cal State Long Beach and I told my SHIP fellow students about the wonderful internships that DWP offered. That was 4 years ago. Fast forward to now, we've probably had about 6 people who have interned here because of that, and 3-4 of them are now hired full-time.
DWP specifically, I like that you work for the city, and there's like great pride coming to work every day knowing you're like a civil servant. You're powering their lives. You are contributing to this renewable energy. It gives me a great sense of pride. Being part of the DWP chapter will allow me to show young minds that I am like them. I'm a Hispanic with humble beginnings, capable of doing big things in the world.
LADWP has been an essential part of the city of Los Angeles, and we have more important work ahead of us as we provide water and power to our customers. We encourage all employees to join the LADWP SHIP chapter. So let's continue to pull together to support one another and to support the community we serve. Thank you and welcome to the LADWP SHIP Familia.
So by joining SHIP, there are benefits that we'll have for all of our employees, not just Hispanic, but certainly the organization would be open to all employees. And we listed just some of the programs that SHIP offers here. One is the SHIP Southern Methodist University Professional Development Certificate, which would be open to participants so that they could develop executive skills, as well as the SHIPtinas program, which is a program specifically for women and to help them as well in their careers. And the Latin X Factor webinars, which is a series of webinars that Top Step leaders have put together and are available to the members. I look forward that if we do join that, maybe sometime.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. Especially because I am very passionate about this topic, and I'm so pleased to see that was an incredible video and the materials, and I'm glad to see this progress. I have to sign off at this point. It looks like Jill has returned, so my hope is that you have quorum to finish the rest of the items out. If there is a challenge with that, Joe, please reach out to me, and I will see what I can do to ship things.
Will do.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Okay. So
we're good.
We're good. All right.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. So the goals of the organization would be, of course, professional development, where we would ensure that our members are thriving, adapting, and reaching their fullest potential, and providing leadership opportunities. I think a lot of us that were active in our college careers would say that it was through SHIP that we learned to get things done through others. We would, of course, help with the recruitment and retention of the best employees, as well as mentoring and providing networking opportunities so that we could help one another. And the last, of course, is community service and promoting STEM. There's such a need for science, technology, engineering, and math professionals, and so we would be part of helping those efforts, as well as, of course, serving our community. So far, we've had a planning committee that's been working with the SHIP organization as well as within LADWP. Today, we're here asking for recognition and approval of the chapter, and if approved, in October, we'd like to have a celebratory event and also just finalizing our bylaws and membership drive and continue partnerships. I'd like to give a great thanks to the Society of Women Engineers as well as the National Society of Black Engineers, because already they have been welcoming. We've been talking about how we're going to share resources so that we could benefit from all three organizations. And with us are their leaders. Leah Mala is the SWE president. She is here, as is Greg Reed, the NSBE president, as is Lori Morish, is the NSBE vice president. Thank you so much to all of you. And so our planning committee, right now there's 8 of us. However, there is a list of about 40 employees that have said we're in if there is a chapter. 4 of us are interim officers. We will hold elections. And just quickly to name some of the other folks that have been helping out: Marvin Hermosillo, Sabi Valdez, Fabiola Moreno, Art Castro, Brianna Rojas, Jesus Gonzalez, Luis Jose Martinez. And finally, just again, what we're here for is to request that the board direct staff to execute an LADWP SHIP professional chapter as a recognized organization within LADWP, and to authorize the chief accounting employee to implement payroll deductions, amounts set by the SHIP chapter, and of course, upon request of employees. Thank you again for your time, and we'd like to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you. Any questions or comments, Commissioner Berard?
No,
Okay.
I'm very impressed.
Terrific. Commissioner Reyes?
Just want to congratulate all of you for accomplishing this, for coming this far and establishing the organization. It's really commendable. I know you will have a lot of contributions to the department in terms of leadership development, mentorship, and I'm looking forward to really empowering our next generation of employees through organizations like you. And just to celebrate the National Hispanic Heritage Month, I think this is a great milestone, and I wholeheartedly move approval of this item.
Well, I'd like to second that and also make a comment before taking the roll call vote. I too want to congratulate the SHIP organization for finally coming to full culmination here at the department. It's a testament to what's best about this department, and I love the La Familia, sort of that spirit that you bring to both the organization and the department. I know that when I say it's a testament to what's best, organizations like SHIP or the other employee organizations, they don't exist and they don't thrive without the support of the entire management and leadership of an organization. And I couldn't be prouder to be the first public utility with a chapter. I just think that's like pretty incredible. And want to congratulate you and the department for making that happen. So I think with that, we will call the roll.
Commissioner Berard?
Aye.
President McLean-Hill?
Aye.
Vice President Reyes?
Aye.
3 ayes.
Thank you, and congratulations again. So I think that takes us to item 25.
President McLean-Hill, Barbara Matlock has canceled her request for comment.
Okay. So are there any questions by commissioners, or are we prepared to move and adopt item 5?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Commissioner Berard?
Aye.
President McLean-Hill?
Aye.
Susanna Reyes?
Aye.
3 ayes.
Yes. So we're now moving into closed session, Joe?
I believe we still have item 18.
Oh, 18. All right. We have
Commissioner?
No, I didn't call it special.
Jill
Dr.
Berard.
Pickle did. I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought Jill did as
Jill.
well.
Oh, Jill. Item 18.
And Commissioner Brown did.
Commissioner Berard, did you have questions?
A question.
Sure, certainly. I'm sorry.
Okay. This amendment increases our amount by really almost $17 million. And I would like to know what the thinking is, and, what's involved, why this would go from almost $17 million to almost $84 million.
Good afternoon. My name is Nermita Rustico-O'Neill. I am a manager of generating station and facilities engineering, and I'm also contract administrator for this contract. We are in the 5th year of the contract with the General Electric International. Original amount of the contract was $67 million, and purpose of this contract was to support our in-basin generating stations with all the necessary inspections for the turbines and generators, maintenance, and any scheduled or unscheduled repairs that are required. In the past 4 years, we have conducted a lot of maintenance for the major and minor inspections, a lot of diagnostic tests, testings, tunings, and replaced hardware and software. When we originally asked for $67 million, we did an estimate of work that's going to be done for the duration of the contract for 5 years for planned testings and maintenance. And in past 5 years, what we have been experiencing is different type of operations that our units are under stress due to change from base load running of our units to more cyclical units running, and that is due to penetration of renewable. We'll no longer run our units as a base load, but more turning them on and off and just running them when they are needed. This type of run definitely increases the stresses on the materials, and we have seen some failures on a hot gas pot equipment of the turbine, a little bit more increase than what we should have seen at that age of the equipment, and we needed to make these unplanned changes. So in the past 4 years, we spent additional $9 million for unplanned repairs of this particular equipment, and thus we are running with lack of money to complete our major and minor inspection, repairs, and replacement of equipment in this 5th year. So we are asking for additional $17 million to complete this work until June of 2021, which is the month when this contract expires. Does that answer your question, Commissioner Barad?
I wanted to, if I could just ask the speaker, the total amount is almost $84 million. Do you think that the $84 million is warranted? Is that a figure that you're comfortable with?
Certainly what we have, like I said, experienced in a past decade is the increase in funds that we need to maintain the units of our fleet. We have 28 GE turbines and 28 generators within the in-basin, and previous contract from 2013 to 2016 was about $47 million. We predicted that we're going to need $67 million for 5 years from 2016 to 2021. But like I said, an increase in cyclical operation of our units is causing need a little bit more failure on material and equipment, and thus we need to increase expenditures for replacement of such equipment. And certainly $83 million is quite a lot of money, but turbine and generator equipment is not cheap. For example, we have replaced just in 2019 for Unit 6 in Valley certain equipment on a turbine, some buckets, nozzles, and shroudings that went through experienced some stresses and need to be replaced, and that cost $5.8 million.
So hold on just really quick. Commissioner Berard, I actually had a question about this item initially as well, because it read to me that we started at 16 and we were going to 83 million. And then when I reread it, I realized that that wasn't the case, that what we were approving was an increase of 16. We started at 67, and we're increasing 16. We're not approving an $83 million increase today. We're approving a $16 million increase today.
I see that. Yes.
Yeah,
the original amount was 67 million.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So the increase is the result of more stress applied to the equipment than we had anticipated when we initially estimated that we would only need the 67, correct?
That is correct.
So are you comfortable with that, Commissioner Berard?
Yes, I'm comfortable with the explanation. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, terrific. Then I will move approval of item 18. Is there a second?
I second.
Would you call the roll?
Commissioner Berard,
Aye. Aye.
McLean Hill,
Aye.
Reyes,
Aye.
3 ayes.
Then the item passes. And also, we skipped over filed items.
Correct.
Are there any questions with respect to filed items?
Thank you.
Thanks, Nermina.
I assume that they're in our report and staff is available for questions, and there are no questions. So we can move forward to Joe, closed session.
At this point, we'll recess in a closed session to address the items on agenda item 26, and in accordance with California Government Code Section 54957.1, we'll report any final actions taken therein. You have received a separate invite for a closed session, so please call into that. 5 minutes, Commissioner? 10.
Why don't we take 10?
And we will recess in a closed session and start in 10 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you. Please remain silent until the microphones are turned off.